Hello fellow pilots, my name is Hawra. I'm from Indonesia and I'm one of the students of 14-day Pilot Flight Academy. In today's opportunity, I will talk to you about one of the things that I did learn on the private pilot ground school, because right now I'm currently taking private pilot and also instrument rating ground school. So in today's opportunity, I will explain about hypoxia. Hypoxia is one of the aeromedical factors for pilot, but the question is, why is it important for pilots to learn about hypoxia? Isn't it more important for pilots to learn about engine, to learn about the technical stuff, the weather, and all of the elements that most common people will think that it's directly related to aviation? Well, simple. Because the reason is, pilot is also a human being. And because it's a human, that's why pilots are also the subject of getting aeromedical factors and also hypoxia specifically. What is hypoxia? Hypoxia is a state of your body that your body is experiencing a lack of sufficient amount of oxygen in your body. And why is it urgent for you to know that hypoxia is dangerous? Because your brain needs oxygen in order for thinking, to making decision, and also, as we all know, pilots in aviation is all about decision making. And hypoxia also caused by several reasons, several causes that falls into several types of hypoxia. The first one is hypoxic hypoxia. What is the cause of hypoxic hypoxia? The cause is altitude, because we know, because we're flying in a higher altitude, we know that we will be subject of a lower air pressure. And a lower air pressure meaning the air is less and less dense. When it's less dense, it means there is a lack or there is a decrease of partial pressure in the oxygen. That's why FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States, has published or has stated the rule about supplemental oxygen in order for pilots to avoid or to mitigate the cause or the possibility of getting hypoxia. What it says is that in 14 CFR, or Code of Federal Regulations Part 91.211 about supplemental oxygen, is that a required crew member less than 12,500 feet MSL not required to have supplemental oxygen or to use supplemental oxygen. But when it comes to 12,500 higher until 14,000 feet MSL, they are required if the rate of flight is more than 30 minutes. And then, more than 14,000 feet MSL, the required crew member is required to use supplemental oxygen in the entire flight time. And then, for passenger itself, more than 15,000 feet MSL is required to provide supplemental oxygen by the airline or the pilot itself. And then also, based on another source, which is the Aeronautical Information Manual, stated that supplemental oxygen also required for pilots if it's daytime, then above 10,000 feet MSL, and then if it's nighttime, it's required above 5,000 feet MSL. Now the question is, why for nighttime is lower than daytime? That's because in nighttime, your eye needs to be more focused on your instruments, on your surrounding, on your airplane. Your brain needs oxygen in order for it to work. That's why in nighttime, you need oxygen faster than daytime. And then the second types of hypoxia is hypamic hypoxia. This is because the deprivation of oxygen due to the lack of hemoglobin available in your body. It's either because biologically or because there is a carbon monoxide poisoning. And why is there a carbon monoxide poisoning? That's because there is a leak on your exhaust gas when you turn on a cabin heat. That's why if you are smelling an exhaust gas in your cabin, you will turn it off, because that might be the cause of you getting hypamic hypoxia due to the carbon monoxide poisoning. Because in fact, hemoglobin and carbon monoxide bond 200 times stronger than hemoglobin and oxygen. And then the third types of hypoxia is histotoxic hypoxia. Toxic is poison. Histo is tissue. So it's a poisoned tissue in your lung. That's why your lung cannot receive or cannot do the sensation of oxygen itself. That's why you can be the subject of histotoxic hypoxia. It may be because of drugs or because of alcohol. And then the last types of hypoxia is stagnant hypoxia. This is when, well, as the name suggests, this is when your blood flow is restricted to the extremities of your body. Why? Well, maybe because it's cold, or maybe because you are sitting too long, or maybe because if pilots, you are pulling G-force to your airplane, and therefore to your body as well. You can get the stagnant hypoxia. And then, what is the symptoms of hypoxia? How? So the symptoms of hypoxia, first, you can get cyanosis, or like the blue colors in your nail. And then shortness of breath, obviously, because, well, your body is lack of oxygen. That's why you are getting a shortness of breath. And then tachycardia. Tachycardia is a rapid heart beating, and then there is unconsciousness. Well, if you are the pilot and then you are seeing your passengers passed or like unconscious, that can be the indication for you to think that they might be having an hypoxia. And then I want to tell you about one unique thing about hypoxia symptoms. It's a goofy hypoxia or happy hypoxia. Why do they call it as happy hypoxia? That's because when you are flying and you are in a state of, actually it's not okay, like maybe you are in unusual attitude, or you are low in fuel, or you are stalling, or anything else that is not usual, the attitude of your flying, or like the state of your aircraft is in, but you still feel like everything is okay. And that is the indication for you to think that you are in the middle of getting happy hypoxia. That's why when you're flying alone, you should be careful, you should be mindful, because there's no one else to tell you that, come on, or like pay attention, you are doing wrong, you are thinking in a wrong way, or you are making a wrong decision because you're getting hypoxia. When you're getting hypoxia, you don't have enough or sufficient amount of oxygen in your brain where you cannot think. That's why it's very dangerous if you are flying alone and you don't pay attention enough to your body. So that's all from me about explanation on hypoxia. I hope we get something from this presentation. For all my fellow student pilots out there, keep on learning, keep on studying so we can be a great pilot in the future. Thank you.